So professional Honda spokesman, James Hinchcliffe, if you could describe this lunch you just had with us in one word, what would it be?
Refreshing.
It's very delightful. That's a very delightful answer.
I don't buy it.
No, I was going to say spicy.
Ooh, that's a spicy
Closer.
meatball.
Yeah.
Yeah, a spicy chicken sandwich.
That's what I was
did.
talking about. The physical meal itself was spicy.
It was actually quite.
Yeah, the
okay.
food was spicy.
Conversation.
The company was refreshing.
Lukewarm.
Wasn't
Lukewarm at best.
delightful.
And now for Dinner with Racers, presented by
Continental Tire.
with your hosts, Ryan Eversley and Sean Heckman.
Placeholder radio sound. I'm a driver. I'm very angry. This is the sound of a driver on the radio during a race.
What do you think I should order?
And welcome to Dinner with Racers. I am Sean Heckman.
I am Ryan Eversley.
And we are currently driving somewhere in between Kentucky and Tennessee back to Atlanta because we are wrapping up a 7-day journey into Indianapolis and back because we are doing a semi-new format of Dinner with Racers. For those who are listening in after having heard the last couple of years, we are changing things up from our usual giant 30-day trip where you get 25 or 30 meals or so, and instead just spending sort of a week at a time throughout the year to take some racers to some free meals. The good thing is that rather than one giant offloading of episodes that you get in the wintertime, we're now going to give you several episodes throughout the year. Hopefully you enjoy getting more constant content, and we won't kill each other.
So we went up to Indianapolis. We hooked up with a buddy of ours, James Hinchcliffe. And if you follow any sort of auto racing in this country, you know who James Hinchcliffe is. First off, he's a mayor. But also he's had a lot of success in the IndyCar series, not only on track but off the track. He's kind of a household name for the sport and just like a fan favorite anywhere he goes.
So for those who don't know sort of the quick career bio on James, he is a product of sort of the American ladder system, did all the traditional things an IndyCar driver would do, Atlantics, into Indy Lights, into Indy cars, also did some A1GP when that was a thing. And he's one of the fan favorites because he's one of the best storytellers, one of the funniest guys in the paddock, but he's also done a ton of media and self-promotion outside of the sport. Most notably, he was on the U.S. pop culture juggernaut Dancing with the Stars, where he was runner-up, which meant he brought a lot of eyeballs to IndyCar and was a brand new face and name for those who maybe weren't as familiar with the sport.
He also went through a tremendous crash at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a few years ago, which could have killed him, but we didn't talk about that at all.
But what we did talk about was greedy Hollywood bastards.
The first time you met him,
He calls bullshit on some of the purist arguments in safety.
how Canadians think they're superior to Americans.
He talks about Jeff Gordon's retirement party featuring Kyle Larson and PJ Chesson.
And of course, we hear about Fred Savage.
So we headed out to Sarah Fisher's 1911 Grill in Speedway, Indiana.
1911 Grill's becoming sort of our Tegri hangout. We went there even once.
They
just
are
to-
the Tegri of
They are
Indianapolis
the
restaurants.
Tegri of Indianapolis buffalo chicken sandwiches. But on this particular occasion, I had the buffalo chicken wrap, and I believe you had a...
Oh, I had a chicken sandwich.
Sure you did. Of course, we couldn't have done this without the support of Acura, as well as, what's that tire company?
Oh, that's
that
Continental
you,
Tire.
It's Continental Tire,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's Continental Tire? Yeah.
But I think you got to do the
I gotta do
thing.
it?
Yeah, because
Dance, monkey, dance?
dance monkey.
Fine. Continental Tire.
Again?
Continental Tire.
Nice.
James Hinchcliffe.
Oh, also, thanks to the fan that spotted us and tweeted about us but did not reveal who the guest was.
James Hinchcliffe.
Also, before we start, just a quick note that we recorded this before the Indy Grand Prix, which meant it was before Indianapolis 500 qualifying in 2018, and also before any personnel changes within Schmidt Peterson Motorsports. So all that happened afterwards. Enjoy.
All right, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hanging out, putting out the vibe. Yeah, you know, that's just for you.
Big deal.
Huge.
Yeah, I like it. So, what's new and exciting, guys?
Everything.
When'd you get in town?
Last night.
Yeah.
Put that on.
Just a water's fine for me, actually.
3 shots
thank
of
you.
whiskey.
Hinchtown Hammer Down, man. It's on tap.
Is it really?
Oh,
here?
is it really?
Oh, shit,
Oh,
I'm
nice.
ordering one of those.
Yeah, the spark plug in between the Coors Light and the Sun King.
Oh, dude, we're doing that. A friend of mine brought some back for me when she was up here for like a business business trip.
All
So I
right.
had it in my fridge for about a year.
There you go.
And I was trying to like spread it out because I wasn't coming to Indy for anything.
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
Thanks, man.
How does that come together?
That comes together through meeting the guy that owned Flat 12 and just kind of he loves doing stuff around the around the city and being involved in the community, whatever, and obviously Indy. And so we were just chatting one day, and he's like, hey, do you want to do a collaboration beer for the month of May?
Right.
I was like, yeah, that'd be
Duh.
incredible. Let's do
Yeah.
that. You're asking a Canadian if he wants a beer named after him. Yes, absolutely. What do you hi? And so he's just, I sat with their head brewmaster. We talked about what kind of beer we want it to be, and
Right.
did some different samplings or whatever, and then did a Twitter contest to name it, and it sold really well. So the next year, he's like, "Do you want to do it again?" I'm like, "Again, stupid question,
Right.
but sure." And thank you. And then it sold. They made like twice as much because it sold really well the first time, and then at the end of that month, he was like, "So this is going well. Should we just make this like a seasonal
do
thing
this
for the
thing."
whole IndyCar season?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, "Yes, we should."
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Now you see a lot of guys going to say winemaking. Like we had this conversation with Mario last year.
Name drop.
And yeah, boom, happened.
I don't know if you know
And
this.
I don't know if you ever heard of
we
Mario.
were just
Andretti.
hanging out with Mario.
But even into however many years into his deal, we asked if it was profitable,
Oh, yeah.
and he
It's like, how dare you?
he was kind of he wasn't too impressed with that question.
Yeah.
Is it a real business is the wrong term, but like is this a thing? Is this something you can actually build off of?
No.
He's not getting that beer money yet.
Craft beer is a marginal business at
Fair
best.
enough,
you
right,
know.
okay.
So I get a check from them every year. I will not be
Okay,
retiring
cool.
off my
But you're getting
my
something
earnings.
off of it.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
get some
for
beer
sure,
money.
for sure.
All right.
Yeah, it's become pretty popular in town. It
Yeah.
sells really well.
It's a good beer. I
Yeah,
was like,
especially this
we'll see
month.
about this. No, it's actually good.
I haven't tried Takuma's yet. He's got a beer now.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah, they actually it was Big Woods. It was that restaurant right
Oh.
there. They did something for him as the winner last year, and
Huh.
so he just
Well,
saw a
that's-
thing on.
When are we hanging out with him?
Sunday
Monday?
night.
Sunday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be
Are
off the
you
clock.
are you eating there?
We're eating
Oh.
it in Carmel.
So probably not. But
Yeah.
the place he wanted to go was closed.
No, it was closed Monday
Oh,
night,
right, yeah,
and then he
yeah,
switched
yeah.
it to
So many
Sunday.
places are closed on Monday. It's
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah.
It's-
That's one of the hardest things. Like coming from LA, it's you come to a place like Indy and everything's shut down at 8:30, 9. It's like what the hell? But
Yeah, you gotta know where to go.
Yeah.
There's a couple places, but the Monday thing is what drives me nuts. Because obviously we get home late Sunday night.
Yeah.
Monday you're just vegging. You're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
let's just go grab
Let's
dinner.
go get
We've had a
food.
rough week. Let's go
Right.
grab dinner at our
Right.
favorite
Yeah.
spot. Walk up there, like, damn it.
Yeah, I would have thought
Third
the opposite
time.
here. Yeah. We don't need to kind of do a background check on you because everybody knows who you are. But I do want to ask you because you came through like the actual like junior formula ranks, and one of the questions we've asked people over the years is like, who's the best guy that we never heard of, that never made it? That you're like, man, if that guy could have just had a better year or been with the right team or something.
Man, that's a tough question.
Is it Robert Wickens?
it's Cole Pern.
yeah. 5 months ago I would have been Robbie Wickens.
Right.
But no, honestly, man, like if you were just to put a guy in a race car, and it's tough. So here, I guess here's part of the problem is coming up through the ranks as I did. I came up at a really good time in the sense that the competition was stout every year of my junior Formula Car career.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys that I raced against and had a lot of time for and respect for, you've heard of them. They all ended up somewhere.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
my year in Pro Mazda, 4 of the top 5 in the championship ended up being IndyCar drivers.
Right.
So a lot of those guys were really good. And the guy that won that year, and this is the guy that, I feel bad for in a lot of ways, but Rafa Matos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him because he did.
Yeah.
He made Indy, but you put that guy in a car, and he will drive it as fast as it can physically go.
Right.
He struggled on setting it up, and I think that's ultimately when he was on a one-car
Yeah, it was
team,
one-car team,
in
a
IndyCar,
semi-startup,
that as a rookie,
Yep.
it wasn't a particularly great team at the time anyway.
Yeah.
He had a lot of things stacked against him, and I think it's really unfortunate because his natural talent level was, it's through the roof,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Looking at your history and results, he was always like in the hunt.
He was
and
the
all
one
stuff.
teammate that I beat him a couple times, but
Right.
he handily dealt with me
Right.
the entire season.
Interesting. So is there anybody from like the karting days from when you're starting out?
Wade Van Hoosier, I remember that kid. He used to win a ton when we were doing 80 shifter and
Right.
Scusa and things like that. But again, we were up against guys like Graham. He was racing at that time. Alan Shudo, that was
Okay.
another
Oh,
one.
yeah.
He
I
was
heard that name.
phenomenal in 80 and 125. He got into cars. I think he made it as high as Pro Mazda.
He went to Atlantics for a little
Did
bit.
he? Yeah, he did. You're
Yeah,
right.
he
I remember
did.
seeing
He
a
did.
little bit
But
behind
it
me.
was
Did some Atlantics, but
Yeah.
he was just so fast in a go-kart.
Yeah.
Right.
And going all the way back, like my very first go-kart rival kind of thing,
Yeah.
a guy called Marco De Leo.
Oh,
and he made it to Mazda, and his brother ran Barber Dodge
I
Pro.
raced against Dan.
And Mazda as well, yeah. And both those guys were just wicked talented, really, really good guys in go-karts. And now they actually own the kart track.
Yeah,
that
right.
they grew up
Yeah, it's
racing
like the
at,
family business.
Yeah.
So what are you doing today? What's your deal?
You know what, man? It's officially May. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
And I say yesterday.
Is that checked out?
Sure.
God, I think so.
I'll take his word.
Yeah.
It might not be the same in Canada.
Is today Thursday or Friday?
It is Thursday the 10th.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday was my first real May day. It started a bit late for me.
Right.
So I had some stuff going on, but Tuesday was the first day where I woke up, and from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed, my day was planned. you
Right.
know? So we're now officially in that.
Yeah.
Today, obviously, it's setup day for the GP, so we're going to head to the track after this and do all the engineering briefs and probably track walk and all that kind of jazz.
So, we've never really talked about this with anybody. Like, when you say May, yes, there's a lot of on-track activity, but you say from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, how full is this schedule from here to the race?
It's out of control.
So today, today's kind of casual, but you said Tuesday was a busy day. So walk us, what is it Tuesday? There was no track activity.
There's no track activity, so because my memory is failing me in my old age, I will revert back to my calendar. So Tuesday, woke up, went to train at Pit Fit.
Okay.
11:15, I had a visit at an elementary school with some kids, which was cool.
That's cool.
I then had a talk at a Lincoln Tech campus here in town. They're a partner of SPM, and we have a program where we take a teacher.
And that's for those who don't know, that's like a semi-vocational kind of school.
Yeah, so it's basically to work in the car industry, car mechanics, things like that.
Yeah.
We then went to a 3-hour appearance at a facility in town here that works for rehab with kids with physical and learning disabilities using horses. These horses as part of the therapy. Really fascinating kind of concept. We've done this cool event called the Horsepower 500 the last couple of years, raising money for them. Okay. And then had a sponsored dinner. So it was literally from the minute I woke up till the minute I went to bed. It was pretty flat out.
And that's just like this every day when you're not on track.
Basically, yeah. And even some days when you are on track.
But that's probably, and I'm assuming that your schedule probably is quite a bit different from like a Gabby Chavez or a Munoz or something, because you've been a public figure and really worked hard on the publicity side of things.
For sure. Yeah. And it depends what team you're with. And
right.
I remember when Joseph was driving for Fisher Hartman, and signed the deal with Ed. At the time he was still living in Indy and training at Pit Fit with us, and at that point I'd already been through like the GoDaddy phase, and because my rookie year was the same as kind of what Joseph had his first 3 years. I was with Newman Haas. I had a sponsor, but they were a Canadian company. They did some stuff in Toronto, but they didn't really care about
Right.
So I had a pretty lax rookie year.
Right.
And Joseph had a pretty lax rookie 3 years, and then he signs this deal with Ed, and he's got Fuzzy's Vodka now.
Yeah.
And I remember being at the gym with him one morning, and I was like, man, you look a little tired. He goes, dude, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you've done it.
Right.
And, he's obviously graduated to the most, corporate place on earth. So he's now and Simon said the same thing when he left Schmidt and went to Penske. He's like, man, the difference is crazy. And, at Andretti, they've got tons of team sponsors, and so you're always doing events. So the team you're on has got something to do with it. But
it sounds like the sponsor is a big part of it. So if it's, in other words, if it's just a wealthy guy kind of having fun, the commitments are a lot less than say like with Arrow or some of the people that you're working with.
Correct, for sure. So Gabby's schedule will be a little bit lighter, but there are a lot of mandatory things that we have to do as drivers through the month that everybody is a part of, and it's different in that sense from a normal race.
Historically, there's qualifying over the weekend, and then there's a Monday practice, and then everybody kind of has to leave the Indy basically, and everybody goes on their respective thing for 2 days. Is it just obligatory that you're going to be the Canadian visit?
No, it was for a long time.
Yeah.
I think I did 4 straight years of doing the Toronto tour, but then I think a series of things, put me on a bigger. I put a bigger spotlight on me when I tried to kill myself. That helped.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
And then there was this, television show I was a part of for a while, and so then I started getting the big city things like New York and LA.
The actor move?
And I was like, I used to be a part of
that's the actor move.
Show.
A little show called
Dancing with the.
So you're dating an actress. Has she ever pulled the? I was on a show called, but it's a very popular show.
For sure, because like the first thing, but like that's what you do, right? The first thing that's like when she introduces herself or someone asks what she does,
because this is like faux attempt at being humble.
The first, it's genuine. I mean,
no, I'm not saying
it's genuine. It's not like a humble brag.
He disagrees.
I might disagree,
but you don't. Here's the thing: you don't assume anybody's seen anything, right? Because there's some really popular. I love TV. I watch a lot of TV, and I watch a lot of movies. I'm a big movie buff.
Good,
but if there are a lot of like popular shows that I've never watched. Like
Sure.
I know The Wire is a very popular
Yeah,
show.
I'm on that. Like people get mad at me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
What's
For
Walking
me, it's
Dead?
Game of Thrones. It's the same thing.
I just started that
Yeah,
like 3
yeah,
months
I
ago.
saw
I
you
can't
posted
commit
that.
the time.
Yeah.
Because there's so many storylines. I'm like, I'm not going to even start. I can't do it.
I
Yeah.
finally bit the bullet on that one.
Okay.
But we're only like halfway through.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But so you don't assume. So like she did a spot on Suits, right? So I was
Right.
like, oh, it's like, well, have you ever seen Suits? Like, well, everybody's heard of Suits,
Right,
right? So like,
right, right.
but you don't know if they've seen it or not. So it's,
I get it.
Part of it. So you were here yesterday? Like just for
I
lunch,
was.
or by the way, let's say
Okay.
here at the 1911
1911 Grill.
yesterday
1911 Grill,
Which has some very good beers on tap, but one in particular.
is Budweiser. Yeah. Is that even true? No, it's not.
no, they're Coors.
Coors.
Oh, they do.
Oh, they have
They got
Bud
Bud
Light.
Light.
Yeah.
They got
Okay.
Coors. They
Yeah.
got Liftoff, which
All
is
right.
Daredevil, which is
We're
just
gonna
down the
bleep all of
street.
these and just say
And
yours.
just say yours.
But they have Hinchtown Hammer Down from Flat 12 Beer Works.
Yeah.
But I know I was here yesterday for a lunch meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, this place, if you don't know, is it's owned by Sarah Fisher and,
Yep.
and her family, and they've got that go-karting place next door. And
Yeah.
she's such a cool person. And such
We
a
had
big
her on
supporter of the
season
series.
one, and she's like, we know Sarah Fisher,
Yeah.
but she's like just a cool person in general.
For
We're like,
sure.
can you come on the road with us?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You'd be a great third person. Yeah.
So just anytime we have a chance to, anything I've got to do in town, if I have a choice, I'm like, yeah, let's go to Sarah's place.
Yeah, yeah.
I just love it here.
Oh, it's so close to everything too.
For sure.
How many times a week do you eat at Tegri Sushi?
Oh man, that's
Because we've been there so many times.
where'd you get that from?
We went the first year and did Sarah Fisher. We did like 3 people there.
First year was just Sarah, and then the
that
second
right?
year we went like 3 times.
Yeah, but we came back the second year after only getting there once, and they're like, "Oh, you're back." We're like, "What?"
And now it's
Yeah.
a point where they're like, "There's your table, set up." You know.
If I didn't have to be at the Speedway after this, that would have been where we
Right.
went.
Yeah, that's the
I live
spot, man.
3 minutes away from
Okay,
Tegri's.
yeah.
So I've got a question for you guys,
Oh, boy.
right? Because this is a question that Alex, Rossi, and I ask all of our guests.
Because you're
on
building
our
a podcast empire now.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
It's an empire.
we have a small show
it's
that
a
I think
colony.
4 people have
All right.
listened to so far, and we
it's called
appreciate
That's
that.
That's the
That's the
little
humble
show
brag
called-
there.
Yeah,
I'm on a
exactly,
little
yeah.
show called-
like 4 people.
That's a very little show.
It's on a little podcast
We're not talking about Suits or
It's
Dancing
called
with the
The
Stars. here.
Nerdist. I don't know if you heard about it. We bought that. Yeah. All right, hit us.
And your podcast is called Off the Track?
It's called Off Track
Off
with
Track.
Hinch and Rossi.
Okay.
And we love asking guests this question. Because you say that's like the best purchase you've ever made.
Yeah.
What's the worst purchase you've ever made?
So you stole our
So
question.
yeah, you
Yeah.
listen to our show apparently. You son of a.
we asked people like, okay, so you're making some money now.
Right.
What's the first
What's
dumb
the most
thing you bought?
irresponsible
First
thing you
dumb
did with
thing
it?
you bought? Yeah.
Pat McAfee had the best answer on our show. He bought 2 goats from Australia.
Oh, that wins.
That actually-
That's pretty solid.
yeah.
I can't argue with that one.
He had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
cancel the order the next morning when they called him back. They're like, "Are you sure you want these? Because we're pretty sure you called us at like 5 o'clock in the morning in the
we
States.
just did a little bit of math.
and the shipping's going to be $7,500."
You're hammered, clearly.
He's like, "Oh, maybe
I
not."
need those goats though. I haven't bought anything stupid. Yeah, we're also poor.
Yeah, that's it.
What's your dumb thing?
Oh man, I don't know. I buy a lot of dumb stuff, but a little dumb stuff. Like I fall into these. I'm such a victim of these like internet ads.
Gadgets.
Oh,
Or like, yeah,
okay.
gadgets.
I bought a mini
So-
drone.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like you can buy it in your living room. I was
Yeah.
like, I gotta have that.
That's
I gotta
kinda-
have that.
yeah.
I blew it once.
yeah, it either breaks, you
You're
break
like, damn
it, or like just it
Yeah.
just stops working.
So you're the 2 a.m. This is the best flashlight you could ever own, or
Yeah.
like a crazy set of
Yeah, you
knives
see it
or
like
something
on the
like
side
that.
scroll.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
what's that? A mini RC car?
Yeah.
It goes 30 miles an hour.
That's
Interesting.
That's an
I
impressive
need
speed
one
for
of
a little
those.
one.
I need one of those, I
I need
think.
proof.
Yeah,
I need proof. It
exactly.
only does 12.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the bad
What's
part.
to scale?
Yeah.
It's like 200 miles an hour
I-
if
I-
it was this big.
I've had a tendency to like sit down in my basement watching TV late into the night after maybe a bourbon or 2.
Right.
And
Is that your go-to?
Yeah, I've
What's
become
your-
a big bourbon guy.
Yeah, same. What's your brand?
Oh man, that's like asking you what your favorite child is.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I recently found this was a place in town called Rural Inn, a little liquor store owned by this guy called Ray, who's like an absolute
You're on a
legend.
first-name basis with the liquor store guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
absolutely.
okay.
That's the kind of level.
Is that a Canadian thing? Or?
No, everybody
Just-
calls
just-
him Ray.
just
Everybody knows.
alcohol.
Everybody knows Ray. Yeah.
Oh, everybody knows, right? Okay, fair enough.
And he's got a very good palate for bourbon. He does a lot of barrel selects for his store, and he
Oh,
just
cool.
came out with a Weller Antique barrel select that is just incredible.
Oh, very cool.
So I'm kind of on that at the moment. How about you? What's yours?
I like. I got hooked on this brand because they did a charity thing where people could nominate you to be on it, and then they would give you money for your charity. And they basically like a $50,000 main winner and then like $5,000 tiers.
Cool.
So I got like 10 grand out of these guys towards a charity, but Eagle Rare.
Oh yeah.
And I was
Great
like,
stuff.
and I didn't drink bourbon at the time, so people were sending me, like fans were sending me bottles of Eagle Rare in the mail, which I was like, So it sat on my shelf, and then a friend of ours introduced me to bourbon, and I was like, you know what? Because that was the first thing I ever drank was whiskey, and I got sick off of it.
Right.
I was
Okay.
I was too young, kids.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. And so couldn't even smell it, and I guess I just got over that, and so I started drinking Eagle Rare out of my kitchen one night, and I was like, oh,
That's not bad.
This is all right. Yeah.
I feel warm inside.
Yeah. But Woodford's Reserve is the main Delta bourbon.
Yeah.
And in Atlanta, you probably fly Delta if you're coming through there. So that's that's the main.
That's like the go. That's like the staple. Can find it anywhere.
Right.
I got Hunter Ray hooked on that.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I got him into bourbon through Woodford.
Nice, man. Yeah, I could do that. Sean, what's your go-to?
Oh, I only drink with Mario Andretti.
Right.
That's
correct.
Again, I think on the floor there, you just drop that name.
Shoulders have been killing him. Holding it up all
And
day.
which of Mario's fine wines do you prefer?
the Andretti, the red one.
Yeah. Was that a?
What did we have? Do you know?
We had a cab.
It was a cab,
Yeah, I
but
think it was like
I
a
couldn't tell you the year.
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually all right.
I don't drink,
like
but
it.
we had the conversation when we were going to have dinner with him. It's like he's going to offer, and I think he was like, "Are you going to drink with him?" And my first thought was, "Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's like a running joke, like anytime we have a person that might have a history of something going debaucherous for them.
Yeah.
So like he's like, I do meth with Jeremy Mayfield.
Yeah, why not?
It's like stuff like that.
Who doesn't?
It's like Richard Petty.
Right, you gotta
that's
do
what
it.
I'm saying.
You gotta
if
do
like
it.
Richard Petty lowered his hat and a dime bag came out, like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
Wow.
But it's so funny.
I
though.
edit these.
It's so funny you say that though, because I've got a similar kind of.
Did you do
Mario
a dime
story.
bag with
I
Richard
did a
Petty?
dime bag with Richard Petty. No.
Okay.
I had a similar story of like something that I said I would never do, and then Mario asked me to do it, and I was just like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
We'll do that.
You don't
Anything
not tell
anything
him.
you need,
Yeah.
sir?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we almost both cried on that episode because
Yeah.
it's like so cool.
Yeah.
Like he
Dude.
turns to me, he's like, "How's that NSX going?" I'm like, "He knows who I am." Like, cut it. I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on your own. I can retire.
He knows everything, man. That guy's
Yeah.
the greatest.
Yeah, now, he actually, like, we send him like our guest briefing thing, and he read it and was like, "Oh, they do a road trip? I love this." So he knew like the whole principle behind it.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, we've had people of no notoriety that were a huge pain in the ass.
Right.
And here's Mario Andretti, like,
Nah, he's the coolest,
anything
man.
you need. Yeah, get 4 hours.
One of my favorite things, and now I am going to like blatantly brag about this, right, is sometimes when you're over at Marco's place, Mario will just knock on the door and show up. He'll have 2 bottles of wine. He'll cook dinner, and you'll just sit there, and he'll just let him talk.
Right.
Yeah,
Because he's
yeah.
got stories like that dude.
He's the coolest guy
That
of all
dude
time.
he's forgotten more than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
But he
right.
still remembers everything.
Yeah.
He's got stories from everywhere. He knows every detail, every name. He's still mad at people from like 1962.
Good.
It's
Good.
the greatest.
Good. Robin Miller.
Yeah. Actually, I had this question down. We have a question we're going to ask you that we used to ask a lot. We don't really anymore. But speaking of Marco, is Marco cool?
Marco Andretti, I think, is one of the most misunderstood drivers in
Right.
motorsports
He
because
seems like a normal dude that got put into an interesting position in life.
I think he was born to a very double-edged sword kind of situation.
Yeah.
And one that I'd argue who wouldn't take that if they had the same, situation.
For
But,
sure.
Yeah.
And, Marco at the track is hyper-focused. He's hyper-competitive, and that comes across poorly to some people sometimes. But Marco Andretti as a human being is one of the most genuine, amazing people. He's one of my best friends. Like, I stood in his wedding. He's so generous. He's so loyal. He's such a good dude. It really, really bugs me when I hear people talk.
Yeah, he gets a lot of grief from fans, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I guess there's also like that obvious jealousy of like, oh, you're Mario's grandson, and you had like one of the most successful people of all time in our sport as your parent, and your grandparents.
For sure.
No one's gonna equal out.
The barometer to which he's compared is just so unfair.
Well, yeah, because like think about now with like the way everything's spec and the same, and there's like you can literally like the coin cars winning races, and back then there was no chance of that happening. You had to be in the best equipment, and people would win by laps.
And that's the thing. Michael's the first guy to admit. He's like, "There's no way I'd have that many wins if I raced today."
Yeah,
It's
right.
not that Michael Andretti's not a phenomenal racing driver.
Right.
It's just back then it's kind of like F1, right?
Yeah,
you were
exactly.
racing against. There were maybe 3 teams that had the right tire, chassis,
Yes.
engine combination, maybe.
Yeah.
So you're fighting 6 guys can win any race, right?
Right.
Now we have 16, 20 guys that can win any
Yeah,
race.
yeah.
So for sure, it's a different era.
Yeah, he gets a lot of grief, and I've never met him. But I'm like, I wonder if he's just like a dude.
He's such a dude.
Yeah.
Such a nice guy. Like I said, so generous to his friends. Like once you're in his group, like once he trusts you, he's got big trust issues, which makes sense because
the
guy
with the plane and all the weird.
Yeah.
But no, he's as good as they come.
Yeah.
He really is.
That's cool. So we don't really ask this question that much anymore, just because, like, meh. But we used to a lot, and I figured you might actually answer it.
Uh-oh.
So if you could punch anybody in the face in your sport, who would it be?
If I could punch anyone
And, like,
in
no
the
repercussions.
face.
Like, they can't hit you back or, you don't lose your ride.
Oh, man. No, I don't know, man.
Yep.
He knows. He's just not saying it. Yeah.
What if you say a name, we bleep it, and we promise to not tell anybody?
I don't believe you.
We actually do. Ask
anybody that's been on the show.
Pat Long.
You know what? The thing there. Let's put it this way. There are times where there are definitely people that I would have liked to have punched at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm not. I have worked very hard in my career to like not hold grudges and not let stuff carry over from one week to the next because you can get mad at somebody on track,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Like, so a good example was Texas last year when TK took out half the field, right? And so everybody was very mad at TK,
Right.
And he texted me as soon as I was out of there before the race ended, and he still finished on the podium somehow, and he sent me a text after the race being like, I know you hate me, whatever. I just want to say sorry. And I wrote back, and he's like, can we talk about it at some point? I'm like, yeah, not right now.
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
I'll call you when I'm ready to
Not the
chat,
time.
And then the next day we were hugging everything, or the next week we were hugging everything's fine. I try really hard to not carry that stuff over because that guy is going to be there next race.
Yeah, exactly.
And the race after that, and then the year after that.
And that's what I say.
after
Is that a mindset for you, or is that a longevity thing?
I think if you start holding grudges to everybody you have beef with on the racetrack, you're going to have no friends really quick,
Right.
and all
Which
of a
is
sudden,
kind of more of a longevity. Yeah,
exactly.
if you
It's
wanna
just
last.
it become your quality of life will I think decrease exponentially.
Agreed.
If you plan on being here for a while and you travel with these guys 20 weeks a year,
Yeah, totally understood.
Yeah, and the level of trust you guys need
for sure.
is higher than almost anybody else in the world. The sport, What's your go-to? Like, what's on? Because my thing is like I come home on Sunday night or Monday morning, and then I blow that day on like just relaxing, eating whatever I want, and watching like whatever I've recorded throughout the weekend. When you get home? What's the shows you're like I got to catch up on?
So, like I said, Becky and I finally started Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So we'll try and knock out one or two of those. Right. She has a lower tolerance for that kind of show than I do. So like
interest or like can't handle the gore. Or
interest.
Okay. Yeah.
Tolerance. That she watches it because I wanted to watch it, and she claims she likes it now and whatever. But I don't really believe her. She's just being a
What's
sweetheart.
interesting is I've never heard anybody say they're not really that into it if they actually watch. What is it? Too much going on, or what's the deal?
There's a lot of storylines, like you said.
That's why I don't watch it.
They need to give you like a book. Like
you need a legend
all the
to
things
follow along.
Exactly right. Because you're
like
I don't remember who they're talking about.
And all the names, like there's like this one family where all the names are really close. Yeah. And so you're like, was that was the T guy, but was it this T guy or that? And then that's the S girl, but is it this S or that?
Right.
And it,
Yeah, I sit there on Wikipedia while I'm watching, and I'm like, just name. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that one. Okay,
right,
cool.
Yeah.
But so that's the thing because we're not like binging it. We're kind of doing like an episode or two a week sort of thing. It's even harder.
Oh yeah.
So that's why But anyway, so we do a couple of those. So Becky's favorite, and I love it too, is This Is Us. So like that one's happening still. Like it's still a show going on, and so they just finished season 2 I think a couple weeks ago, but she's like religious about that one. Tuesdays she's all about This Is Us.
Was it you that was asking? That's the guy that's doing Racing in the Rain. Was it you?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, not me.
That's the guy, the main dude there. What else do we do?
What's your favorite mindless show that you don't want to admit you like?
Or show that Becky likes that you don't want to admit you like?
That you shouldn't like it, but you kind of did. Jersey
Shore.
Shore.
What was Roger Hayden's? It was Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. He's like, I'm sorry.
But he kind of likes it.
Yeah.
I mean, I I'm not ashamed to admit I love Big Bang Theory. I know some people hate that show, but I absolutely love that show.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because I'm a huge nerd. I wanted to be an astronaut.
He's like the coolest guy we know. I'm such a nerd.
Dude, I went to space camp when I was a kid.
I went to space camp. Huntsville? My man.
Boom. All right.
Huntsville. I went to Space Academy at Huntsville. I went to space camp at Kennedy.
Okay, I went to the one in
Canaveral.
Huntsville.
Yeah. That one was
We had
also
freeze-dried ice cream.
Yep.
I got sick on it because I ate so much of it.
That happens.
Yeah, my parents this is your one trip.
So because I'm like such a space nerd, I will openly admit I have blatantly exploited my position as an IndyCar driver to my advantage in my exploration of space stuff.
Right.
And so
Oh, cool.
anytime we go to a track that's anywhere near a NASA
Yeah,
facility,
you're like, "Can we
I
do, like, a
somehow
thing?"
convince them to do a PR thing. And so we got this I met an astronaut through my old engineer, Craig Hampson, Drew Fustel.
Former DW.
Name drop.
No,
Former
this-
DWR alumni.
I'm
Former
yeah.
guest.
Yeah.
I'm owning this one. And when we were racing the street race in Houston, I think in like 14 or
Right.
something, he hooked up this like totally like backstage
behind the scenes.
pass
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
of JSC, and it was
super
just
cool.
incredible.
That's cool.
And he's currently up on the space station.
Oh, is this the guy that's tweeting all the pictures of the
Yeah.
racetracks?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So that's Drew, and
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago at Barber, I foolishly admitted on the broadcast during the rain delay that I had,
Pissed yourself.
yeah, exactly.
You wear a diaper now.
And
Right.
so, all these people were giving me, flack about that. I got an email
Oh.
from the space station from Drew. Being
Wow.
like, hey,
Just
dude,
gonna dust these off right here.
we
get
pee
emails from
ourselves
Steve.
all the time. It's totally fine. I'm like, I'm totally validated now. Nobody can say anything.
I'm an
'cause
astronaut.
The only guy that's got a cooler job than me has said, no, that's totally fine. Totally
Right, yeah, we
acceptable."
piss ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, the whole P thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's, I didn't,
It was like
didn't
I
think it
watched,
was going to be a thing.
my phone stopped working because Twitter was like locked up. I was like, all right, yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, thanks.
Is there an off-season and on-season diet? Like an off-season, are you a little different?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think I drink more in the off season, but we're pretty lucky, man. Like I enjoy eating relatively healthy anyway.
Yeah.
So and what I find is that your training directly affects your diet, but like
Right.
they're like not inversely related; they're directly related.
Yep.
So the more I train, the healthier
The
I
healthier
wanna
you're gonna
eat.
go.
And so
Totally relate.
during the off season, we're training a lot. Like during the season, you train a lot, but like you're on the road so much, it's a little harder, and you sometimes you waver a little bit more. But in the season, when you're at home and you're just knocking out days at the gym, you come home and you want to eat healthy and the rest of it. So, it's race weekends are always pretty strict about what you do. But.
Sure. One of us. Should we just get into this?
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So Rami.
That's never good.
Oh yeah. So we've met before, under very odd circumstances. So I run.
It's documented.
It's documented. So I do a lot of sports car PR.
Yeah.
And I run a pit side webcast. For,
I remember.
Okay.
Oh,
there
my
you
God.
go.
I
So
remember Rami taking over
So
and calling me in from pit lane at like
What-
2 o'clock in the morning.
What you don't understand is that we came up with the idea on the spot.
Right.
Like, oh, Rami's here. Let's just give him a mic. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
And so we gave him a mic, and he was out there.
Without a camera.
Yeah.
So-
So we can't see him. They're just looking at like.
we gotta tell
Lally
the
and I.
story from the beginning
Yeah.
for anybody that didn't see this video.
Yeah.
But
So there's the Magnus Pitside webcast.
Yeah.
We're there all 24 hours.
and it's like still cameras. They
Still
can't show
cameras.
anything on track.
Yeah, we're not
but
allowed to see
behind
any
that,
track
you can show
activity. It's all
everyone.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We've got a radio feed, and it's 24 hours. So we were trying to just come
That's
up
hard
with
work.
anything you can to fill
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
So it's like Lally and I, and we see Rami, and we're like, there's nothing going on. Hey, Rami, come here.
Yeah.
And so we give him a microphone. There's no camera following him, so you just hear him talking.
And it's piped in to the
Yeah.
feed, so the
Yeah.
fans that are watching in the chat room or whatever and on the video, they don't see what he sees.
Right.
And he's just talking over them.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, we'll see. And he's like, okay, I'm just walking now. And
oh, I've got a guess. And like he'd been out there for maybe 5 seconds.
yeah.
And then in comes Rami with James Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Well, you guys like open the side of the sheet
Yeah.
and look out there. He's like, I got James Hinchcliffe, and the look on your face is like, oh no,
Oh,
that
isn't real.
That wasn't the idea. And then there's you just like looking over to the side,
well,
like,
Yeah,
what
because it was
what
one of
is
these things
this?
where in my mind you're like, I don't know what's, and then you saw that there was a thing like, well, I have to be on now, and
Right,
so you walk
right,
in like, all right, I'm gonna play along.
Yeah, like, okay, this is a thing.
Hey, man, Robbie's one of the most hardcore, dedicated motorsports fans walking this earth.
Yeah.
He is an interesting character.
Has he ever given you cat whiskers?
No, I've never
Okay.
received cat. I've heard of cat whisker stories. I've
Yeah.
never received that.
Okay.
See, that's new to us. Like
Yeah.
when we met with Ed Carpenter, he told us that story, and we were like, wait, what?
Hold on.
You know, that's-
Didn't he also, like, he's qualified for Jeopardy like 15 times or something?
I'm sorry.
Oh no,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is new.
He's like he told me he's like a Jeopardy aficionado. Because, I mean, you know how much of a vault of
Yeah.
racing
Yeah.
information
Right.
he
Yeah.
has. Well,
Right.
apparently it extends to, like, every subject on Earth.
oh, okay.
And
but
so
that's
he's
it.
done I guess it was an online
Yeah.
test you have to do before you kind of make it to
Can
the
get-
next tryout or whatever.
Interesting.
And he's done and passed the online test I mean, years ago, I think he said he'd done it 12 or 15 times.
Right.
So he's
Right.
he's really trying to get on Jeopardy. So I think we should call Alex Trebek.
Yeah, we should.
And say,
We
look, people
absolutely
stopped
should.
watching your dumb show after you shaved your mustache.
You want ratings?
You got to get Rami
We
on the
got
show.
ratings.
We've
There
had-
it is.
We can get you ratings.
We
We can
have-
get you hundreds of views.
We have what in movies they call a built-in audience, and some of us will watch.
Yeah, it's a showbiz term, Alec. You might not know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
that's
yeah.
all about.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Just go with it. So, okay, so you're not going to dish on Rami. Are there other Ramis we don't know about? Because we're more on the sports car side.
Right.
So he's already a
There's
living
like
legend
2 or
there.
3 staple people, and that's
Right.
about it.
There's a dude in town here that is just known as Superfan in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you describe the physical appearance of this guy? Because
Is it that guy?
right, is
Yeah,
it the
yeah,
guy?
So he's, older guy. He's probably, 5'8", 5'9", and he dresses up in the most elaborate, over-the-top costumes that are themed to whatever sporting events happening in
Oh,
Indianapolis.
Okay. He doesn't look like he's
Not-
from Duck Dynasty then.
No.
Okay, different guy.
Different guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy, his name is Superfan.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think he's got jerseys to that extent. But I'm talking he'll go to the 500 and he'll have a giant hat on.
Right.
That's just bejeweled with 500 stuff, and he'll wear it looks like a cape.
Yeah.
That's just the whole every square inch of it's got something on it 500 related. He wears giant glasses where the
Good.
frames are all outlined in race cars and all the rest of it.
Right.
And just the biggest smile, nicest guy. I don't know his full story,
Sure.
but
Right, but
Pacers
he's just that
games,
guy.
Colts
He's
games,
in- he's in it.
Indy 500.
Yeah.
He's just always there,
yeah.
and he's just awesome. The other guy, actually, if you're ever at the Speedway for the month of May, we've got a guy called Wolfman Chuck.
I think I've heard of this guy.
And Wolfman Chuck, he rides around on this tricycle with a box on the back and delivers all the newspapers.
Okay, yeah.
So you pay Chucky at the start of the month, and he comes by every day and delivers your newspapers. And Chucky has some sort of neurological condition or something, so he can't speak very well, and his mobility is a little limited. But the guy is razor sharp. He, I'm pretty sure, has multiple degrees. He's written a book. The guy is switched on, and he's so witty. He's so funny. He loves he's so sarcastic.
Yeah.
He dishes out insults left, right, and center, and it's just the best. Man,
Right.
he's one of the best parts of May.
Wolfman Chuck.
Wolfman Chuck.
Have you ever gotten? I haven't seen all of them yet.
About
With
when
your
you were doing
podcast?
your show before. or
No,
this one?
nobody's heard or seen any of them.
Okay, because our tell when we'll IndyCar is a perfect example. So we're not in the IndyCar scene as much, but I guess we're known enough that when I reach out to PR folks,
Right.
The common response will be, "I've heard of it. I haven't seen all of them yet."
Yeah, I haven't seen all the
Which
episodes.
is a pretty good tell.
Yeah.
But
I haven't seen our show. Okay.
yeah, okay,
Cool.
fair enough.
Neither has anyone else on Earth because it doesn't exist.
How's that possible?
Well, we had the last couple seasons I've had a podcast just on my own called Mayor on Air.
Yeah.
And if you ever listen to Mayor on Air, if you ever watched Mayor on Air, you know that I would ask every guest, have you ever listened to the show? And every single one of them without fail said no. And even guys that we
at
had
least they're
back
honest.
on for a second time,
You're
did you at least
"Welcome
listen
back."
to yours? We're like,
Nah.
no, still
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah.
So literally not
Right.
one guest had ever heard an
Right.
episode of the show.
Did you have Derek Walker on?
We did not have Derek Walker on.
You should.
We have a fun time with Derek Walker because every time we see him, which is 2 or 3 times a year, we reintroduce ourselves to him, and he has zero idea who
that
we
you
are.
already- what we did.
And he was on our show for 3
And so,
hours.
so
in
it's
his
now become a
office.
thing. Where
we went
we
to
go
his
out,
office.
and so we're now going out. We're like, "Hey, Derek, how you doing? Nice seeing you
And
again."
he's
just
like,
got this-
"Hey, good. Refresh my memory."
Yeah, and it's
I was
almost
like,
like-
"We had lunch in your office." He's like,
more
"Headsets."
time?
He's like, "Oh." And then he's like, "I heard it must have been pretty good." I didn't listen to it.
I can never tell if Derek actually likes me or if he really hates me because
Sure.
I did this Derek Daly impression on one of the local news stations here in Indy that he's a correspondent for during May.
Okay.
And everybody was laughing in the room except Derek, and then he told me afterwards he thought it was funny, but I don't totally believe him, and I
Sure,
think deep
sure.
down he still sort of harbors a little bit of hatred towards me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But I feel bad about that because it was all in good fun. But
Let's hear it.
damn it.
You did it to yourself.
I was going to get a Dario out of you as well. He did a really good video a couple years ago about getting in the Andretti Autosport car where you
Yeah.
basically called around everybody and,
Right.
and pretended to be Dario at one point, I think, was
Yeah,
the
I
idea.
did.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to hear the Dario
The
impression.
Dario,
in person.
oh man, that one's tough. I haven't done that one in a long time. The Derek. So the thing about Derek is we always joked about how he would like big up Connor when he was racing over in Europe, as your son, as you should for your son, right? Not in a bad way. And Connor was doing very well, but we'd like just going over the top with it.
Yeah.
And so we talk, to go. My son Connor, the greatest American Formula One hopeful. And we would just, would just go on. So I did this thing on the news with Connor, and Tony was there, and Derek was there, and it was funny, man. It was a good time. Put on the flat cap and everything.
Nice.
And I had like the microphone from back in like the 70s when we started doing commentary and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, my son Connor.
So then a Dario impression would go.
I don't know if I can do it, man. I didn't think it was that good.
I thought it was fantastic.
I didn't think it was that good.
Yeah.
I haven't spent a lot of time with him lately. I need to spend time with the guy to really nail it.
Right.
That one I can't do it justice.
Probably been a few years, but you once did a Kimmy that I thought was pretty impressive.
I did do a Kimmy. Well, Kimmy's really easy because you just basically whisper in a monotone sense. That's a lot. I think first, the rest was pretty good.
That's spot
on. Yeah, it's perfect.
That's good.
But the funny thing is, and I've never, I shook his hand once, but never properly met him.
Yeah.
I hear that you if you take him out, if you go up to him, can't shut him up.
Yeah, he's just a dude.
He's just such a dude, with wicked sense of humor.
Right.
You just cannot get him to stop talking.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I really want to have dinner with.
Yeah, can you reckon it?
Let's take this show on the road.
Whoa.
I'm going to jump on.
I'm just going to infiltrate.
Okay,
I'm going to jump in on this.
Come on in with you.
We're going to go to Finland.
We're going to do we're going to peel the onion a little bit.
Let's
blue sky this thing a little bit.
We're just going to go.
Jump on.
I'm just going to ride on the. I'll just be like the sound guy
You're the hype
for
man.
that episode.
You're the hype man.
I don't have to be on it. I just want to hang out with you.
You're going to warm him up for us. Yeah, exactly. All right, now here's Kimi.
Which just means feed him some vodka.
Right, exactly.
Easy enough.
Just open up a bottle of Fuzzies.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
IndyCar
Let's do
plug.
that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right on. We heard from an anonymous source that you hung out at the retirement party for Jeff Gordon in Homestead.
Yeah.
Go on.
Next question, please.
Go.
What do you? Yeah, I was there.
How'd that go?
It was fun. It was good to see Jeff.
Yeah.
On his last day, you know. So Jeff Gordon's retirement party was a great was a weekend. It was a whole weekend. So it was the first time I'd been to a racetrack in a non-official capacity in the very, very long time.
Sure.
And even then, there was some official things to do, which is kind of where I almost got into a little bit of trouble. Because on the Saturday night, we went out with the manager of a driver who shall not be named.
Can you name the driver and we'll bleep it? And we will bleep it.
It was
okay, copy.
And his best friend.
Sure.
And this guy was hosting some very wealthy individual at the race. And they invited us out to this nightclub. And I'm not a big club guy. That's not really my scene. But, special occasion, I guess, one in Rome. And so we went out, and the scene in this nightclub was very, very unique. It was bizarre. This gentleman had sectioned off this area.
Was this like Homestead's Finest kind of thing?
You in Miami?
They were in Miami.
Oh, Miami.
It was in Miami.
Yeah, South Beach?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And he had cordoned off this area and had sequestered every pretty girl in the club to be in his area. And only he and this guy that invited us were allowed of the male sex were allowed in this particular area.
Right.
Everyone else had to stand around the outside and just look in.
Yes.
Yes. And this guy had said, "All right," he said to the waitresses, "I want 5 bottles of Ace of Spades delivered every half hour until I tell you to stop."
Until I die.
And so the guy that invited us, let's call him Bob. So Bob was saying, he told us this story. I'm like, that sounds outrageous. That seems like an unnecessary amount of champagne. But whatever. To each their own. Sure. And this guy, the guy that's paying for it, he's having a great time, and we're kind of standing on the periphery. And
you're not allowed in.
Oh no!
You're hanging out with
them.
You're not allowed
in. 2 dudes. We're talking over the couch because we're not allowed in that area.
Right.
And so
are they handing champagne outside of the rope?
So this is we're getting to that part. So I'm looking at the drink menu. There was one just sitting there, and I noticed that a bottle of Ace of Spades I think was $2,500.
Of course. Yeah,
so he's got 5 of these coming every half hour.
Gotta have it.
And so Bob feels it's not Bob's rule that we're not allowed in here. It's Money Guy's rule.
Right.
And so Bob feels bad that we came out and we're not really part of the festivities.
Right.
So he walks over with a full bottle of Ace of Spades and he hands it over to him. He's like, "Here, this one's for you, man." I was like, "Dude, that's I'm not. That's a $2,500.
I can read.
Yeah. I'll take a glass. That'd be more than
right.
He goes. He looks at me. He goes, "We got plenty." And I'm like, "You know what? Screw you." And I took the bottle and just started walking around and topping up other people's
How we
drinks.
doing, everybody?
And then I was supposed to. We were supposed to be at the track the next morning for some meetings.
Right.
And we stayed out rather late and ended up at a friend's hotel. And my cell phone died, and I didn't know exactly where I was or how to get back to where I was staying.
Right.
Good.
And I'm like, this is awkward. And so I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to walk it.
Oh God.
And so I went walking through the streets of Miami, and I got to this road. I knew that this road led to my Airbnb, but I didn't know if it was left or right.
And on a scale of 0 to blackout, where are you at this point?
Well, this was like I was sobering up. Like this was
0 to vomit.
The sun was coming up.
0 to vomit.
So
where are you?
No, I'm a 2.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Unhydrated.
Yeah. This was. We had stopped actually partying a long time before this, but we just been out.
Yeah.
And we got Taco Bell, and so that helped. Yes. And then
we can hang out.
So I just guessed I'm gonna go right, and I started sprinting because I was like, I'll realize that like I was a ways away, and this was gonna be a bit of a thing. And I guessed right. I got to the place, but I was sharing an Airbnb with my manager, and I didn't have a fob to get in. And my phone was dead, and I'm like, this is awkward. So I had to totally pull a stalk hiding in the bushes, stalk for someone to go in and follow them in. And the security guy clocked me, and I ran away from the security guy. And I got into the lobby. I was like, okay. I know we're either on the 15th or 16th floor, but I wasn't paying a ton of attention because we just got there that day.
Yeah, you went right to the
we
thing.
dropped our stuff off and then we left, right? I'm like, it's 15th or 16th floor, and it's one of these 3 rooms. Yeah. So it's now a Sunday morning, very early on a Sunday morning, and I'm like, oh, God, I hope this is it. Wasn't it. Next one.
No.
Wasn't it. Next one. Wasn't it. I'm like, oh, wrong floor.
Right.
So I go down a floor, knock. Nobody there. Knock. Some kid answers. I'm like, this is not the right one.
Right.
Knock again. And I'm like, I don't know what to do now. The 2 floors I thought it was, the 3 rooms I thought it was.
Yeah.
I narrowed it down to 6 units in a 1,500 unit building,
Right.
and I'm like,
You're
I'm
wrong.
screwed.
Yeah.
So I sat down in the lobby. My theory was, at some point, my manager's going to come down and will see me here. And so if I just sit here, he can't leave without me.
Right.
And I tried going down. There was a little convenience store in the lobby. I'm like, do you have a cell phone charger or anything?
Right.
And they didn't have any for sale. I'm like, well, what phone do you have? And she goes, I've got an Android, and you've got an iPhone. I'm like, of course you do.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting there, and I've given up. I've run out of hope. I have nothing left to do, except just sit there. And eventually he comes down and sees me. He's like, where? I got the room right. He was in the shower when I knocked. I was so mad, but we made it there on time.
Good.
And then Jeff's thing was the following night, which is a whole different story.
Who all's at the Jeff Gordon retirement party?
I mean,
He's a celeb, as are you.
For
but
sure.
He's like,
he's
been around.
Jeff's huge, and it was mostly racing people.
Yeah.
I mean, it was obviously everybody was there.
Was Lewis Hamilton there? Was that when he was there?
No, I don't.
Okay.
He was at the race.
Yeah, but he
didn't come to the party.
Yeah.
No. The star of the party was PJ Chesson. I don't know if you guys know
I'm
PJ.
familiar with him. Isn't he kind of like that guy anyway?
Yeah.
Like he's like the life of the party
guy. He's that guy at every party.
Yeah, right. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
And so the party, this party was at the Versace Mansion in Miami, right? Very nice place, down by the pool, really beautiful setting. And we were walking in, and Kyle Larson and I walked in together, and he was like, and Kyle's like, he fanboys over PJ.
Yeah.
Because PJ was he was the king of sprint car racing. Everybody knows PJ. And so, the best was Stenhouse, Larson, and Rico Abreu.
Okay.
Nice.
We all met in the lobby and went there together. And they're
That's
like,
a trio.
hey, did you come in with PJ Chesson? Is that PJ Chesson? These 3 guys, 3 superstars in the stock car
But these are all
world.
dirt track guys.
They're fanboying
Can you
so hard
introduce
over
me
it. Exactly. So we walk
this
in,
note.
and we walk downstairs to where the party's at, and there's this pool, and I look over at Larson, and I was like, how much? I said $1,000 says PJ's the first guy in that pool. And he's like, yeah, right, deal. Probably going to lose, but deal.
Yeah.
So we're an hour into the party, and no one's in the pool yet. And so I just walk over to PJ. I'm like, hey, PJ, Right.
See that pool? See that pool
You're
over there?
not gonna let someone
Wanna
else
make
jump in that
500
pool first, are you? And he looks at me and he goes, "Nope." And he right then he puts his drink down, strips down to his underwear, and just cannonballs
No
into
way.
the pool. Everybody's there, like suits, and like all the women are in dresses, and it was hilarious.
Where does
Anyway,
PJ Chesson live?
PJ Chesson lives in New Jersey.
Damn it. All right.
Say, let's go hang out with him today.
Yeah, when are you guys going to be in that area for a podcast?
Yeah. Soon.
Yep.
He might be his own season.
On that level, who's the guy that we don't realize is an amazing storyteller or perfect for something like this?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, PJ would be
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah,
I don't know how much of it would be usable content.
100% of it. By the sounds of it.
We wouldn't offer him the bleeping option. Like,
Yeah.
we'll bleep it out.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't. You have to tell
Yeah.
us.
I mean, so have you guys had Will on the show?
No.
We're working on it, but no.
Yeah, Will's really good at telling stories that they don't really make a ton of sense, but they're really entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
He's like a kind of philosophical guy, and he
Okay.
says some stuff that you're not expecting him to say,
Sure.
but
Okay.
I find it very entertaining, and sometimes informative too. I love hanging out with Will, man. He is hilarious.
So he's where the did that just come from kind of comment?
Yeah, like he'll drop stuff that you're just not expecting him to drop.
Yes.
Like it's like
Okay.
it kind of makes sense in a distant way
Right,
to what
right,
you're
right.
talking about, but you just did not think that's where he was going.
Fuck,
with
I can't
it.
think of the guy's name. There's the third guy in the Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant trio. He's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now.
The Idiot Abroad.
Yeah, the Idiot Abroad.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yep.
Okay, so what's the best restaurant you guys have eaten at while doing this show?
Well, one of the best meals we ever had was Doug Bowles
Oh, no way.
at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Because he cleared out I don't know what they normally use that room for, but it's like right next to Victory Circle, inside in the pagoda,
Yard of
on the
Bricks is
bottom
right
level
there.
of the pagoda.
Yeah.
And it was like a buffet spread of enough food for like 30 people.
No
and
way.
it was just the three of us. Yeah. And we're talking lobster mac and cheese, like chicken, steak, desserts, little mini bottles of Indy 500 milk,
Nice.
like with the logos on it and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're like, we're not this famous. Like, you fucked up. You got to save this for real people. We're not going to do this justice. But we got to eat right, in the pagoda on the bottom level, like right in front of the Yard of Bricks.
That's
you know what I
cool.
mean? And so that was something we'll never forget. Brendan Gaughan's family owns the South Point Casino.
Right.
And inside the South Point Casino, which is kind of like the Cowboy Hotel or casino there, is one of the nicest restaurants in the country called Michael's, named after his dad. And it's like they fly in food from all over the world every other day for this place.
Right.
And we would have never been able to afford that. Like, it would have blown our entire
our entire
budget.
show
Like, we
would
wouldn't
be
be able to get
gone.
home.
Yeah.
And Brendan comped us the meal. He's like, I'm not paying for it. My dad is. Because he's like the best guy in the world. But I'd eaten there before, so I was like, dude, this is like really nice. I'm surprised they're letting us go in there with headsets, because it's like it's where the mafia ate back in the day in Vegas. And like when we ate there with did he tell us people were there the night we were there? Or
There was one guy.
Yeah, he's like, there was a guy in here tonight that has a history. He's like, I would
made
never
some
say
things
who it was
happen.
or point him out.
Barehanded strangled someone.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a hammer
exactly.
in his back pocket.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But that was like a meal that you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Both of those were pretty incredible. Obviously as an IndyCar driver in Indianapolis, you're a public face. We talked to Dixon about this because he's here, a superstar, but he goes to 2 states over. No one knows who he is. We even said this with Newgarden, that like he did a video with Joseph years ago with IndyCar where he was like talking to fans, and same with Alex Bowman, where they're like, do you know who Alex Bowman is? And they're like, no, but I hear he's pretty good. And
What do you
it's
think
like,
of that Joseph Newgarden
Right,
guy?
exactly.
Yeah.
And we were saying that you could probably still do that at some places and it wouldn't register, but now that you've got the Dancing with the Stars
A little
thing
show
behind
called.
you. I was on a little show called
Dancing with the Stars.
Has life changed for you publicly? Like if you're in the airport, because I assume you fly still corporate, or are you flying like
Commercial?
a public?
Yeah. Come on now.
What? You have friends with planes.
That's
Those
true.
are the best kind.
That's
Those are the best kinds. Yeah.
Don't get a boat, get a friend with a boat. Don't
Yeah.
get a plane, get a friend with a plane. That's
Write that down, kids.
yeah. I mean, it's right after the show ended, there was a big shift,
Right.
for sure.
Right.
I would say the lasting effect is there, but it's much smaller. Like when we were down at Barber, we did an event for Honda, a STEM event at Alabama University.
Yep.
And so we're walking through. I'm with the team PR and whoever, and we were walking through campus and heading towards the part where the Honda trailer was. and this university girl just screams out from having lunch.
really?
She goes, "Oh my God, are you James Hinchcliffe?" I'm like, "What?"
Good one, guys.
Yeah,
Good one, guys.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like that's a plant.
Right.
So like, things like that, and airports are I think the place you get recognized the most. I don't know why that is, but for some reason, like you can be in a public place anywhere, lots of people, fine, but for some reason, airports is like
Right.
Because
I
you're
got
fixed.
recognized as Sean Heckman recently. Yeah.
Big deal. Congratulations.
And when I told him this, I was so excited for him. I was
You
like,
told me.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, a guy stopped me in the. I was wearing our hoodie with
Yeah,
our
yeah,
logo
yeah.
all over it. He's like,
And you were
dude.
angrier.
He goes, Sean Heckman, or he goes, Sean, and I said, Ryan, and he goes, oh right.
The lesser of the two. The other guy.
He goes, so even when I get recognized, it's not as myself.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. Yeah, I was gonna say plus like the Honda commercials, because you're now like the face of Honda, which you've been doing that in Canada for a while. I remember going to the Keg,
oh, nice.
which is like I guess it's a chain, but it's like a nicer chain in Canada. We always go. It's awesome. Get the Billy Miner. Is that the night? Did I get the name right? It's like an ice cream cake thing
I don't know.
that they sell at the Keg.
I'm
I just
usually
assume-
too full to get dessert
Right.
at the Keg.
I assume it is a famous Canadian person it was named after, but either way, he should be very happy with his tribute. But we were at the Keg a couple years ago outside of Mossport at the track, and sure enough, it's like, the Hinchy commercial where the guy's like trying to race you or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. Like they're really utilizing that, and now you get to do that here in the States. Is that helped as well?
For sure. I mean, that's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
a national TV commercial in the United States is a big deal. It's a big deal in Canada as well. And it's really because of the Canadian ones that I ended up on the American one.
Right.
Honda Canada, Honda America, very different companies. But I've been doing, I've had a partnership with Honda Canada for a bunch of years now. They're incredible people, great supporters, and of racing in general and of mine in particular. And we've been doing those commercials, I think, since 2014.
Right.
And we'll do a couple a year.
Does your girlfriend ever give you for how easy it was to get your SAG card? Has that happened? I assume she had a process to get hers.
She does get a little. She got a little. No, she didn't actually get a little annoyed, but she was kind of like, "Oh, that's funny. I've never had a national commercial in the U.S. or anything, but that's cool. You do you. You just drive cars and take my job.
Cool.
That's fine.
I went to school for those.
She says in jest. Yeah, exactly. But no, that was great, man. That was fun, and yeah, that definitely gets a lot of people end up seeing that and recognize you off those as well.
So I know you've answered this probably 100 times, but the Dancing with the Stars stuff, I don't know that people really understand what that schedule is. The show, if the show is, I forget, but the show's like on a Tuesday. What are the 6 days leading up to that like?
It's funny, look, when they call you and invite you on the show, they pitch it to you as it's 6 days a week, 4 hours a day. I'm like, doing the math, I'm like, all right, so they move you out to LA, they give you a condo, and so you're like, all right, I'm like, so if I do an early morning rehearsal on Friday, have the afternoon off, take Saturday as my day off, and then do like a late rehearsal on Sunday.
Where were you guys staying?
We were staying in right across from the Grove. It was a big
Yeah,
apartment
you're right
complex
there. Yeah,
across
right in the middle
which
of LA.
which is right next to the studio.
Yeah.
Can you demand like things in your fridge? Like I need like 15 cucumbers.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
can.
not.
I don't know if they'll do it.
Okay, well, fair.
I'm sure they've had some
We can
weird
do that
requests.
here.
I mean, like, if you look at, it's funny, man. Actually, like, when you look back at the people that have been on
Some
that
of
show,
the
like,
celebrities,
you can imagine that there's been some pretty demanding people
Yeah.
that have been on that show. I'm not one of them. So I'm like, yeah, you could almost have it's almost like 2 days off if you plan it that way, and that way I can travel around California a little bit. Becky and I go see some places, spend a night somewhere, whatever. Nay. They they lied through their Hollywood teeth, their fake veneer teeth, because it was 7 days a week, and I would say your shortest day was 8 hours.
Yeah.
Well, nice.
And like 8 hours on your feet.
Right. So
Yeah.
so those days were packed too, right? And there was. Now I guess I have to kind of add in the caveat that I could have only done 4 hours of rehearsal a day, but that I would have gone home week 2.
Right. Yeah.
Because I suck. I needed every minute of rehearsal I could possibly get.
And you had no like theater background, no dance background?
Absolutely not. I'm a 5'9" white guy from Canada.
Fair enough.
The most complicated dance I'd ever done was the Macarena.
You're Canadian.
You know? And so yeah, it's you're on your feet for 8 hours, and then in between that, they have all these interviews they have
Yeah,
to
and
do.
you're
You've got to
doing
go to
remote,
wardrobe
yeah.
3 times a week to get ready for the
Yeah.
show. Then on the Sunday, so the show's on Monday, so the Sunday you have to go into the studio and do what they call camera blocking.
Yeah.
So you do like a really dry run of the...
You're basically on the stage,
on
and
the
they're
stage
getting the
where they
lighting.
can-
and,
exactly right. And then show day itself, which is what they considered your day off, by the way.
Right.
That's 6 days a week counted to show
then on
days.
Monday we'll get
You don't have to
together
rehearse on
for-
Monday,
yeah.
so it's fine. You have to be there first thing in the morning. You do a camera blocking again
Yeah.
first thing in the morning.
And now you're doing all the East Coast promo feeds. And
Then you got dressed. You did a full dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
So we do the entire 2-hour
wow.
show.
Okay. Are the
in
judges there?
costume. Judges are not there.
Okay.
They don't let you talk to the judges.
Yeah.
The judges.
so they really do actually try and keep that
They're on
legit.
a different floor from us when they
Okay.
get brought in, and then they get brought in like we're already on stage. The
Okay.
camera's already like
Okay.
ready to go, and they walk them into their booth as they
Yeah.
introduce them to the field to the audience. So yeah, it's a pretty intense. It's a really intense process. Like if you want to do it well,
Right.
it takes a lot of time.
There's 2 things that always stand out to me on that side of it, because I imagine just muscle memory alone probably takes a few hours to digest. Is the wrong word, but it takes if you're doing 8 hours, it's not like you can just learn it and you're good and it's on to the next thing. Like to me, your body just needs 24 hours just to be
Yeah.
like, okay, figured it out.
You sleep on it and you come back the
Yeah,
next
and
day.
then you've got it.
It's like how many times you've been either in a new car or at a new track,
Yeah.
and you do a 2-day test, and the first day, like everything just seems,
Yeah, it's
everything's
alien.
past you. You're,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
you're,
right.
you're missing
And you
everything.
go to dinner that night and you're kind of like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
if I did
You
this.
show up the next day and your first lap's 10 times better than anything
Yeah,
you did.
exactly.
Right.
It's that same kind of thing.
So it's not like putting more hours in is going to fix it.
No.
Yeah.
But it was refining it. Right. So like the basic moves you had to figure out, and they would get better every day just because you kept doing them. But it was like, it's the little things, man. It's like how you place your hand and like where you look and the expression on your face at this point of the song versus this point of the song. And like the little stuff is what made such a difference. It was so hard to get right. And like my coach, teacher, dancer, Sharna, she was like very, very particular about it. She was OCD about that stuff, right? And I wanted to do it well, so I would beat myself up about it too. And you'd go home after 8 hours rehearsal and you'd be standing in your living room practicing.
Still trying to
one
figure it
movie.
out. Yeah, right.
Poor Becky was just like, really?
What
we're
are
not,
we doing?
We're not done with that
Yeah.
for the day?
This was our LA
I'm like, I'm
vacation.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's it's just so drilled into your head at that
How
point.
often is there a camera guy in there during the rehearsal? So the whole there's just some dude in like cargo shorts watching you just jump around like an idiot. Okay.
And like that was funny. The very first lesson I did, I was like, I was going to be embarrassed to do this in front of the teacher.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
But
here's
there's a
just this
sound-
like
there's a-
union guy.
There's like an assistant producer and a producer that are with you at all times.
Okay.
You're mic'd at all times.
Yeah.
Every minute of rehearsal has to be filmed.
So at a minimum,
because-
there's a producer, sound guy, and cameraman.
no, producer, assistant producer. Yeah, so just
Yeah.
those two.
Okay.
Those two at all times. And then sometimes there'll be extra people.
Okay.
It depends on where you are and all the rest
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
But you're always mic'd. We're always there because I have to capture every minute in case something happens.
Right. Yeah.
Liability reasons. But
copy.
also
Drama.
it's reality TV. They
Yeah,
want,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
they want
the,
you
it's the
losing
fall and
your
break your
shit.
ankle. Yeah, yeah.
Just slapping people.
Yep.
Which I never gave them. I was very proud of
You get
that.
an inch.
Never
You
gave
get
them.
an inch out of me.
So
Yeah.
they do this thing every week, right?
Because they're trying to make you cry.
They're trying to make you cry.
Yeah, of course.
That's
We
the,
understand this.
the sole goal of reality television is to make somebody
Yeah,
cry.
If you don't cry on this show, though,
Yeah,
like,
you
we're
don't.
done.
You don't win.
We're done.
That's why I
No,
came second.
this show.
Oh, this
This
show.
show.
Oh, I'll cry on this show.
Get
That's
over
fine.
yourself. Our
No,
stuff.
We're not talking about that little show
Yeah,
you were on.
Yeah, we're talking about a little show called Dinner with Racers.
Yeah.
But no, they do this interview. They do this one like hour and a half interview every week, right? Because they build your package that they play before you.
Yeah, it's like
right?
because this week
You
is the
and the-
Disney theme and next week is the whatever.
Right.
And yeah,
And that's
Right, but
you
it's-
and Sharna?
No, that's just you.
Okay.
So they'll interview you by yourself, and every week for their package, they're telling some kind of story, but you don't know what the story is. Right? You don't know what they're trying. So you don't know if
Wait, so
they're
they're
trying
just
to make
getting
you look like
sound
a
bites out of
jerk.
you,
right?
Without any clue on context.
Exactly. And so they have you
I
can
need
tell.
to be going back.
Yeah, you
they
gotta get back
have
to
go back to
these,
this.
They have these questions, right? And so they'll ask you a question, you'll answer, and then they'll be like, okay, and they'll ask the question again.
Let's try this again.
And they'll change like one word in the
Right,
question. And I
right.
just kind of stare at them. I'm like, are you? What,
Is this
did I-
how you do it?
Did I screw something up, or
Right.
did you not hear me?
Like,
or
yeah, you didn't say anything
So I just
awful.
answered, I'm
Yeah.
Canadian, so I politely answered it again. And so it took like, it was the second or third week that I established, and I asked some people and kind of figured out that they basically, their producers give them sound bites. So like this is what we need on camera.
Yeah.
And it's up to the field producer to figure out how to get that
How
out
do you
of
get
you.
it? Right.
And
I
so
might be guilty of that.
by the third week, I just sat down in this because it was an hour and a half interview.
Yeah.
Right. To put together a 90-second package. And so I sat down with a guy, and every week it was a different person too. They switch up your field producer after every show. And so I sat down and looked at the guy, and I was like, look, man, I know on that piece of paper you're looking at, there are 10 things you need me to say, all right? I'll level with you. Tell me what you need. I will tell you what I'm willing to say, and let's get out of here in half an hour.
Right,
Let's
yeah.
just let's cut the BS, and let's don't try to make. I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mother anybody.
Yeah.
You know. Let's just get this done. And the guy, and like that guy in particular, was really cool. But he was like, "Yeah, no, that's better
that
for all
works
of
for
us.
me.
Let's just
Yeah.
do that."
Yeah.
But then there's some of them that are just, you can tell those are like the super hungry Hollywood
There's
types.
probably people that want that.
They're
They're
like,
like,
that
how do I
killer
stay?
instinct. Yeah.
How do I
No,
stay here?
I'm gonna beat this guy. You know. Like,
I
I'm gonna
meant
get
the
that
guests.
promotion.
I meant there's got to be celebrity guests that are like, oh no, I need to stay in the limelight, so I'm going to stretch this out.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like,
oh my God,
what do you need? You need crying? I'll cry.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
for sure.
How do I get the
No,
next
but
show?
there's that segment producer that's really looking to
Oh yeah,
get his
just
name
like
next thing.
I need to make this my thing.
Yeah.
I got to make a name off this. Ruining James Hinchcliffe's career. That's how I'm going to get moved up to.
That's how I'm going to become
That's all I need.
Dancing with
associate
Stars
producer.
executive producer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's say, actually, I was going to finish this up with the Honda thing. So I don't know that everybody realizes this, but you are the face of the commercial. The voiceover is Fred Savage.
It is Fred Savage.
Have you got to hang out with Fred Savage?
Sadly, no.
Damn it.
That was very much like he did his
Damn
thing
it.
in one place.
Right. Yeah,
another
no,
in
I
another
figured that's
place,
what it
and-
was. I'm like, but maybe they had a thing. Yeah.
No, unfortunately for commercials, there's no premiere party
Right.
or rap party
Yeah,
that we all
get
get
somehow
together.
they're going to do like a photo thing or something. I'm like, I need some Fred Savage stories.
I would love. Did you?
Now,
so,
people under 35 may not know
Fred
who Fred Savage is. He was on a little show called The Wonder Years, which, if you grew up in the 80s, was a thing.
He was also
90s.
in a small production called The Never Ending Story.
True.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So going full circle, close the loop. Going back to Netflix shows.
Yeah.
I'm up to date, so I'm not watching it currently. But when it came out, Fred Savage actually directs and stars in a show called Friends from College.
Love that show.
Oh, yeah,
which
yeah.
is
Yeah.
awesome.
With one of
Yeah.
my comedic heroes, Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that
Right.
guy.
That was such a good show.
Yeah,
that
it's
is
awesome.
a good show.
Yeah.
And it was just thrust.
Have you ever
Are they
known
on
anybody
season
from
2
Harvard?
yet?
It's not out yet.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
only saw season. Yeah.
Have you ever met anybody from Harvard? Because these are all like friends who went to Harvard together. Now it's 10 years later or whatever it is. But they do something that people from Harvard actually do, which is like,
I go to a little school called.
yeah, they mention that they went to Harvard in every conversation. And,
We are so
and
angry
it's
about
really well
everything.
done. Yeah. You get two angry guys.
you better
you get
get
two
this
angry
right.
guys in a car together.
It's the this
is
it's
what
the
happens.
Louis C.K. thing. The world is perfect and the world is perfect and nobody's happy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You're mad about something you know. It's a perfect
That
example.
you didn't even know
the
existed.
MDX. The rap on the MDX.
Oh, right.
We wrapped the MDX for last year when we did the big road trip,
Yeah.
out of our pocket, just
Yeah.
to be like, here's an obnoxious thing about our car. And this trip is like a week-long trip. It's not the same kind of thing. And we're trying to do that. We're trying to break it up into smaller trips throughout the year. So we just literally hopped in my MDX and drove up here. So we posted a picture yesterday, and somebody first negative comment. It looked better when it was wrapped. It sounds like you're mad about something
That you didn't know existed 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like I went off at Alex the other day because he was complaining about the Wi-Fi on the plane being too slow.
Oh, God.
Straight out of Louis
Yeah.
C.K.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude,
Yeah.
you're complaining that while in a tin tube flying at 700 miles an hour
right.
at 30,000 feet,
Defying
your
physics and gravity.
your
Yeah.
smartphone, which is
Yeah.
smarter than the thing that sent dudes to the moon,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
working fast enough for you, accessing this giant invisible database of information. I'm like, come on, man.
We're sitting in a chair in the sky.
So you can check Twitter.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's outrageous how much they charge for it, but that's a different story. That's a totally
Let's
different
be real,
issue.
though. You got that podcast money, though.
That young podcast.
We
money.
got that podcast money, too. We get it. So let's say you win the – probably not – let's not call it the Indy Grand Prix because you got to get ready for the 500 after that. But after the 500, Detroit is the following week.
It is.
You can be hungover for Detroit. So
The winner every year is.
Right. So you win the 500.
Yeah.
Who you going out with that night? Who's in the crew?
Oh, man.
Does Ryan Lewis get invited?
Yeah.
Nah. All right. Damn it.
Ryan's there.
Can we be his entourage? Like Ryan Lewis brought his buddies?
Totally.
All right, cool. We're good.
Are you going to be here for the 500?
No, I'll be a Lime Rock.
Well, then that's not. Do you not race on Sunday, though?
No, but I race on Monday.
So you can be here Sunday.
Hang on. Hang on. Yeah, can Marco give me a ride or whoever's got a plane? Like, I need to be somewhat sober on Monday. I said somewhat. I'm not saying no.
When you're hungover.
I didn't say no.
When you're hungover, you're sober.
I didn't say
you're
no.
You're just hungover.
I didn't say no.
You didn't say you couldn't be hungover. Very different. I mean, everybody, because if you win the 500, you want everybody to be there.
Right, but who's in the crew?
So obviously,
that's like,
Robbie's going to be there for sure. Marco's going to be there for sure.
Yeah.
I'm really close to the Kimballs. Joseph and his girlfriend Ashley are good friends. Pagenos. Connor, obviously. The Dixons, and then that ties in also to the Ryan Lewis kind of Wade Cunningham group that were, good friends.
So there's
down
like
here.
a satellite group of Dixon?
Yeah, do you know Wade Cunningham?
Yeah. Well, I know who he is.
Yeah, so Wade and Scott were very tight when Wade first came over. He crashed on Scott's couch, and they've been, best friends ever since.
Right.
So when we're all out in town, it's Ryan and his wife Sarah. Wade and his fiancée Rebecca, the Dixons.
Yeah.
Becky, myself, Steven Simpson.
Yeah.
Who and
just became American.
Just became an American. Yeah. And Chrissy. Oh yeah. From our little groups. The bigger question is where you go.
Right. That was our follow-up. I figured it'd be where we had dinner with Ryan Lewis, but I can't remember the name of that.
Cat and Alley Cat.
The Alley Cat Bar?
Alley Cat, is that right? Oh, yeah, that was it. Look at that reaction. Holy shit.
Yeah, this show was filmed there. We filmed an episode
they
of our
have food
show.
there?
We recorded the longest episode in Dinner with Racers history there.
I think I had a chicken salad sandwich from there.
Yep.
Because chicken salad.
brave.
Yeah,
That's really brave.
I think that's what Lewis ordered. I was like, yeah, I'll do this with you. I'll get sick
Alley
with
Cat, I'm 99.9% sure, is where he and his wife met.
It is.
it. And
I'm married.
Right.
Yeah,
So I wasn't sure if that part was public knowledge.
yeah, oh yeah.
I married them.
Did we know that? Okay, yeah.
You're an ordained
Yeah.
minister.
So there was this, actually, that group that I just talked about, we all went to Alley Cat.
Right.
And I'm an ordained minister,
Right.
as you do on the internet.
Yes.
Why not?
Like I
Download?
said, when
Yeah.
you're bored at 2 a.m. and kind of drunk, you sign up for things,
Goat, minister. I got all night. I got all night here.
Let's do it. And so he took you there. That's good. It's a nice sentimental place for him.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Somebody threw a catfish on the ice at a hockey game. What is happening here?
Oh, yeah. In a jersey?
That's something. There's a catfish. There's lots of fish. Why are there fish? Is that something they do in Nashville, or is that something they do to Nashville?
Yeah, that's
I'm very
new by me.
confused.
So if you listen to this, send James Hinchcliffe a catfish.
Please don't.
Don't do that.
I'd rather some Eagle Rare if that's what you're.
Yeah, there you
if
go.
your
Yeah.
fans are.
Yeah, there's going
known
to be
for doing
bottles of
that.
bourbon, man. Step it up.
Yeah, man. I like.
We're going to start one of those like
$100 bills
One of
and
those wish lists, those Amazon wish lists that the porn stars do.
oh yeah. That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
You
that
listen
like
to Stern?
no, I don't.
Like a bunch of he has like his group of like whack packers, he calls them. They're all
Yeah.
these like, they're his Ramis
Right.
that call in, and now they've got their own fame from the show, but they're all still people that have like, crazy problems in life or whatever.
Yeah.
So they all have Amazon wish lists now where they get people that just send them food and money and like, yeah, I really want a large pizza. Bing! They're like, what?
The actress that I dated had that, where she had an Amazon wish list, and like literally like 3-4 times a week something would come in,
Yeah.
just anonymously.
Yeah.
So.
I just don't get it.
No.
Like, do you
don't.
not feel a little bit guilty to just taking that stuff from somebody?
It depends on what kind of person you are.
This is a former girlfriend.
This is the former, yeah.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Things didn't go well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pizza, I guess. I'll always accept a pizza.
Right.
That's fair.
Bring
That's
James
fair.
Hinchcliffe pizza.
Yeah, and a bottle of bourbon. I would take that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
sealed.
people ask for like real, sealed. Yeah, people ask for like real stuff, like
Yeah.
clothes and PlayStations and other things that I feel like you should not be
Yeah.
getting from people you don't know.
So I'm nobody, and fans bring me stuff. So what's the weirdest, not necessarily in a bad way, thing that someone's given you as a fan?
So it can be weird, but not in a bad way.
Well, I mean, it can be in a bad way, but like I'm assuming their heart is in the right place, but maybe
Yes.
their thought was a little bit misunderstood. I made you a doll of you, or something. You know, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely had that.
Is there a Hinch tattoo somewhere?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a tattoo.
Do you?
Yeah, there's a guy named Brad Wurgler in Austin, Texas. He's
I
my
like
boy.
it.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's my guy.
There's a Hinch tattoo. There's a couple people that have tattooed stop and go on their feet because of the boots that I wear.
Ah, okay.
My race boots have stop and go on them.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're called. Have you ever seen these? They're like little dolls, but they're like their heads are huge, proportionately large, and they look like an anime kind of character.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called either, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I had a fan make me like a series of those things, of like me in different Dancing with the Stars outfits from the show.
So
Yeah.
I can't make the joke I was about to make, but okay. So wait,
No.
so there's
yeah,
like,
I got one of those too.
so wait, so
There's
it's like
race
it's like a
helmet one.
stuffed version of you.
No, it's a plastic little. It's almost like a bobblehead. It looks like a bobblehead.
Okay.
But like the head's a normal.
but it's not of your face per se. It's just
no,
a
it's
generic.
a generic.
Okay.
You know, white guy with scruff.
Yeah,
you
right,
know,
right.
Yeah, short brown hair and scruff beard.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the 5 o'clock shadow, and then they like did the body in a costume of one of my outfits. Amazing attention to detail.
Yeah.
A lot of time went into this.
And then there
Too
was
much
there was
time.
actually another fan brought one. I guess they make dog versions now. So there's like a little dog. So they made one of my dog.
Right.
So now the little me has my little dog.
Yeah.
Just need a little Becky, and then we got the whole family.
But that's not. I mean, that doesn't sound like it's crossing the line per se.
No, it's
so
not.
It's not bad.
I've never even
it's quite
crossing the
well
line.
intentioned.
I've actually
Yeah.
been really, really fortunate in that sense. I'll tell a story of someone else. They had a fan. They had a group of fans, and they were a very known group and a very engaging group with this particular individual, and they would regularly bring him stuff and a lot of stuff and really weird stuff. It's like they would just go to the dollar store and spend $100 on whatever they could. And it was really weird stuff. But then one time there was a bracelet that they made. I don't know if it was like a beaded one or like a hemp one or something, but they gave it to him, and he said thanks and whatever, 'cause he knows them and whatever. And then they walked off, and he had the bracelet sitting next to him. And then he looked at it, and he like picked it up, and he looked closer, and he was like, and he grabbed my arm, and he goes, "Tell me I'm seeing something." And he like put it.
What's in the box?
He put it in front of my face, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, they wove the lock of their hair into that."
I
bracelet."
knew it.
Yeah.
I knew that's where that was going.
So that one for him was, I think, definitely.
Yeah,
over the line.
that's.
He's wearing my hair.
What's in
Yeah.
the box?
What's in the box?
So you claim to be a movie buff.
Uh-oh. Now I'm getting quizzed.
Did you see Super Troopers 2?
I haven't yet.
Fred Savage is in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All the more reason.
Yeah, he's got a great cameo.
I love those guys, though.
Yeah.
Like, that first one was so funny.
Yeah.
And that whole, like, Beer Fest. And,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
those guys are just brilliant.
They're legit. But yeah, Fred Savage right there. Cameo.
I heard that in the first one when they did the chugging of the maple syrup thing, which regularly gets sent to me in gifts just because I'm Canadian.
Right.
That actually happened. Like, that was actually syrup.
Yeah, they
Like they
tried.
were doing takes of actually.
If you watch the
Yeah.
deleted scenes on the DVD,
Oh, really?
Remember DVDs?
Yeah. No, what's that?
Yeah, tell me more, old man. They tried the syrup and they're like getting sick, so they had to switch to like tea or something because they tried and it was like I can't do it anymore. I'm done.
I love that they even gave it a
like,
whirl.
let's give it a shot.
What's the worst that could happen? I don't know. Diabetes?
So, you do a fan giveaway every weekend?
Yes.
Where you kind of do like a scavenger hunt?
Yeah.
Was that your idea or did that come from somebody helping you with your stuff?
That was actually an idea that a good friend of mine came up with, and it's essentially a complete ripoff of something that Justin Timberlake did or does. I don't know if he does it regularly, but I guess he occasionally will like hide something in a city that he's touring in and like tell people where it's at. So like he'll hide tickets in a public space in that city and be like, hey, if you want to come to my show tonight, whatever.
Right.
And like we kind of came up with the Hinchtown Hand-Me-Down idea through that. Like we were talking about that. And so yeah, we put together a little care package of goodies, and we have little custom-made coins for each race. It's got the date and the race on it, and we go hide the coin somewhere, and it's a little bit of a scavenger hunt to go find it.
What's the value on that coin?
Of the coin itself, or what the coin gets you?
Well, yeah, can you buy something with it?
No, you take it to the merchandise tent.
Oh.
And then we've got a preset package of
that's
like hats.
awesome. Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
Okay, so you
t-shirts,
leave the coin
some
behind and then they can get a
stuff,
bigger
and,
thing with it.
Yeah, occasionally we'll do a big ticket. We'll throw like a visor in or like
That's
whatever.
cool.
We'll get sponsors.
How big is this coin?
It's the size. Do you know what a toonie is?
Yeah, of course.
There you
Loonies,
go.
toonies.
Size of a toonie, roughly.
I travel the world, my friend.
You are a
I
traveled
race in Canada
individual.
quite
yeah.
a bit, actually.
You actually, yeah, but we have to talk about something.
Let's go.
Because you said it earlier, and
Is it Mosport? I said
Yeah.
the wrong thing.
Correct.
I know, dude. I know. I say it wrong.
I
all the
really
time.
need you to say Mosport from now
Yeah, I
on.
really don't want to.
Oh, it's good, but it's what it's called.
I know.
There's Moss Corner,
Yeah, no, I know.
but it's
Yeah.
Mosport. It's
Okay.
motorsport.
Listen,
Mosport.
pal, I don't know if a Canadian wants to tell me how to say the right things. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
All right. Uh-huh.
How do you spell color?
I don't.
Okay. I was not prepared for that rebuttal. Well played, sir. Well played.
Next question.
Next question.
T-Y-R-E. Is that where we're going?
No. Canadians do that one wrong too. What is the last letter of the alphabet?
Z. Yes. My dad's English. Oh, we got to talk about your
Thank
parents.
you.
We got to
Thank
talk about your
you.
parents. Okay. So your dad tried to get me in trouble with your mom once, and your mom, being awesome, was like not having it. So
This seems like
here's
a
the thing.
weird scenario.
We
I'm
had this
curious.
same conversation about somebody else. It was Paul Tracy, but it's a little different. But follow me. We talked to, was it Tommy Kendall was our PT insider? Yeah. He said to understand Paul Tracy, you have to meet Paul's
right,
parents.
yes, yeah.
And I'd never heard anything about your parents or met them. And then I did, and I was like, this all adds up. This all adds up.
I get it now.
So HPD has a close friend that
The winery, right?
Yeah, it's the winery. It's the Robert
Yeah.
Arthur.
Yeah. I haven't been.
Insert winery name here.
I don't even know what you're talking
Actually,
about.
let's not insert so
Yeah.
nobody gets in trouble.
Or maybe you get free wine.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, we kind of already do. We go to that
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
and
that's
it's
true,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. So HPD, Honda Performance Development, who I work with, they have a friend that owns a winery near Sonoma. So we go out to that race, and we go a day early to set up and all that. But then we get invited to go to this winery, and it's all the top HPD brass and a lot of friends and family and things like that. So it was the year you got hurt. That was the first time I met him because you obviously couldn't be at the weekend, but your parents went. And or maybe it was the first week you came back. Like, did you go to Sonoma just to be there?
I came, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I was still sort of poorly.
You weren't there yet.
Yeah.
Because it's like on the Wednesday or something. So we go to the winery, and it's like, I guess normal wineries, you get a little bit of wine to taste or whatever. This is like, take a gallon,
Yeah.
you know. So everybody's feeling great. And there's these like short, blondish, grayish man with an English accent who is like pouring wine for people. And I'm like, hey, I'm Ryan. He's like, hey, I can't remember your dad's name.
Jeremy.
So, yeah, he's like, hey, Jeremy, Hinchcliffe's dad. And I was like, oh, he's like, that's his old lady right there. And I was like, that's his mom? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, nice. And she's just like a nice lady that's having a nice time, but your dad is like standing on the
gas.
bar.
Yeah.
He's like pouring in everybody's cup. And the
Yeah.
guy that owns the winery is with them, like helping him.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, pour more wine. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, it's starting to add up. So I'm talking to your mom. And we're standing side by side. We're kind of looking at one of these giant barrels, you know, where they do all the fermenting and all that. We're like, oh, that's pretty neat. And your dad comes by, reaches around me, grabs your mom on the butt, and squeezes it, and then goes the other way. And she's like, Jeremy! And I was like, what? She's like, he's trying to get you in trouble. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's classic Jeremiah.
Yeah. But, yeah, your parents are pretty cool. As I understand it, your dad was in the oil industry. Mm-hmm. And I'm remembering this over like 4 glasses of wine. Your mom's Canadian.
Yes.
Your dad's English.
Correct.
And he moved over to Canada with BP.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're doing very well.
Yeah, and then met your mom, I want to say at a dance or something, or at like a public, like...
No, they at one point they both had jobs in a shopping mall.
Okay.
And so they met. I think they met through a mutual friend that knew each other through they all worked at the same place
Yeah.
or something. And maybe it was a dance
party
or
or
a bar.
dance or
Yeah,
something. They
something
met
like
and they've been together ever since.
Yeah.
And they were super fun and friendly to be around, but your dad's character.
He is.
You know what I mean?
Yes, he
like
is.
beyond, I was like, okay, this is all adding up 100%. So yeah, so I understand why you would say Z and why I would say Z, which
Yeah,
I
no,
don't do. I just say Z.
I'm very
But I knew
glad
where
that you
were
even
going.
knew it, though.
Hey, I race for Canadians. Compass
Is
360
it-
out
is
of
it-
Toronto.
Is it a Canadian thing to say Z or coming from English parents?
No, it's Canadian too.
Well, it's so.
They
so
say Z?
Everybody that speaks English on Earth says that, except the Americans.
Listen.
Now you're going to tell me like
Here we
metric
go.
system.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't even get me started on that. Hey, come on. You work in a scientific world. You cannot tell me that the metric system is so much better.
I never use it, bro.
Oh, my God. We brought in an engineer from the UK who's been, racing over in Europe, and she's losing her mind. She's like, oh, yeah, just lower the car, 200 thou. And she's like, what does that mean? Yeah. It is the worst. But, yeah, no, Z is the last letter of the alphabet in every country except America.
Except the greatest one
Except
that you
for
live
the-
in
yeah.
and are
Oh,
living
God,
in.
that's
Okay,
your
look at
excuse.
that.
Yeah.
Every American I'd say that to. That's their only
You
excuse.
don't like it, go home.
That's
How are you on gun control, by the way?
No. Nope.
All right, just answer this. Good or bad? The NRA. Let's just get into it. We don't know Roger Hayden at all, and on the drive up, we're like, yeah, let's just talk to him about the basic stuff, like gun control and things like that. Like, where are you at on that? He's like, what?
position on the wall. Who should pay for it?
Yeah, exactly.
Do blue lives matter?
Right. I know you're Canadian, but you still voted, right?
Well, I mean, I didn't.
But you did.
Well, no, I can't because I'm Canadian. But I'll tell you, if I had the opportunity to, if the U.S. of A. would allow me to have a voice in terms of who I believe is fit to run the United States of America, to me there was only one option.
Okay.
Johnny Rock Page.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's sensible.
All right. We have a pass-along question we do on every show.
All right.
And we had Roger Hayden yesterday.
Yeah.
Superstar motorcycle rider and just like super cool guy. And he asked, what made you more nervous? Dancing with the Stars or the Star?
Dancing with the Stars.
Okay. Want to elaborate or think about it? No.
What was he going to say, though?
Yeah. Or the start of a race.
Yeah, no, not even close.
Yeah.
Right. No, yeah.
Okay. And then
Now, is that a familiarity thing or just the fact that Dancing with the Stars was so big?
Familiarity thing for sure. I mean, I've been driving cars my entire life.
Right.
So, and it's also it's a very different environment. Like in racing, we don't have the same. We don't get the same effect that you do in arena sports of hearing the crowd and hearing either cheers or boos
or
whatever.
Play to the
we have
crowd
a helmet on.
and,
I don't look at them. I don't see them. I don't hear them. They're there, and I know they're there, but I don't really care. I don't know what I think about it.
Right.
But on the show. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, not. You know what I mean. I'm very happy that they're there. Thanks for coming.
James Hinchcliffe doesn't care about
Please keep
fans.
coming to all the IndyCar races. But then, on the show, it's something you're not good at. It's a very foreign thing to you. You're doing it in front of a live studio audience, and there's 10 million people watching live at home.
Right.
Yeah. So you can't screw it up.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that
Fair.
was.
Yeah.
Let's just say I don't often do tequila shots before I race.
Often.
Well,
Often. No,
sometimes you have a really bad morning, a really bad warm up, on Sunday. So you just gotta.
It's the last trick in the bag.
Yeah. We're paid 21 to warm up. Bring it out. Let's go. Line them up.
Driving tips by Bodie Miller.
Okay, so we're gonna have dinner tomorrow night with Paul Page.
Paul Page.
Longtime commentator of Indianapolis. Any question you would ever like to ask him that you could hide behind us on?
Given what Paul does and what he did for IndyCar and all the rest of it, there are certain guys that have their like trademark sayings, right? So it's signing off, Johnny Carson signing off a show or whatever. In racing, the big one that at least I think about is Tom Carnegie when you're qualifying for the Indy 500 and he's on it. So my question for Paul would be, if you were the radio guy, you're the announcer guy at the Indianapolis 500. Whether it's a qualifying thing or a race thing, what would your catchphrase be? What would you be known for years and years and years down the road?
You gotta go. You have to get out of here.
Yeah, I've got time for one more thing if you need me.
Okay.
I wanted to get some dirt on your boy Bobby Wickens, since we're gonna have him on, and you guys are really close. And actually, I have a real question about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is people have said that they've said this to you, and I don't know if it's true or they've thought this. And I think you and I are cool enough I can ask. You helped get him in the deal, and the thought that I've heard from people is that they were like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Because he's as good as he is. He's gonna make your life hell and maybe outshine you."
Right.
Is that a real concern or what do you think about that?
So, I mean, nobody said that to my face.
Right.
I know that people thought it.
Yeah.
Those people also don't get how racing works.
Sure.
Because they don't get how I work. The only person that can make you better is the guy in the other car.
Yeah.
And for 3 years, I had a guy not as good as me in the other car. And I will openly admit that I now believe, especially after a couple races with Robbie, that I regressed as a driver because I was not being pushed
From not having
over the last 3 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
So to make me better, what I'm really good at is if you put two guys in a car on a track and said go, I think there are a number of guys in our series that first run would go out there and go faster than me. But I'm really good at studying data, figuring out where they're better, and applying that.
Right.
And so the only way I'm going to move up the grid is if I've got someone that can push me. And so like every session, there'll be 2 corners that I'm quicker than him, 2 corners that he's quicker than me, and then the next session, we're both faster.
Yeah.
That's how teammates work in racing.
Right.
So I didn't want some guy that I could just comfortably beat every weekend. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
And it's not making me any better. Like, I'm like,
Yeah, sure.
I'm you know,
Yeah.
I'm 31 now. Like
Old man.
You don't know how long you're going to be in this business.
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
want to ride around in 8th place anymore.
No,
You know, so I wanted someone that could push the team, and I knew he could do that.
Right.
So I gladly did that. If he beats me, good on him.
Yeah.
You know, I need to do a better job. So like, I think it's funny that to me the people that think that way,
Yeah.
they're not real competitors.
Yeah.
They just want to be the number one.
Yeah.
You know, which I don't care about that. I want the best guy to win on Sunday, and I want us both to push each other to the point where, like, if he beats me,
Right.
what's good about it is, I'm genuinely happy for him because he's one of my
He's
best
a good
friends.
dude. You can just
but
tell
then
he's a good
at the
dude.
same time,
Yeah.
you're like, all right, how do I make that the other way next
right.
time? You know,
Copy that.
and it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great.
It's a very generic question, but somebody like Lena coming from P1 cars, which are arguably very different in terms of the kind of tech that comes into the
Way
play.
more technologically advanced.
How is that adjustment for her?
Not as hard as the adjustment from metric to standard.
Let it go, man.
You know, jeez. She literally has on her run sheet. She has a little thing like one flat equals
like a
this
conversion
much.
table?
Yeah. So she knows like one flat
Yeah.
equals this many
yeah.
thousandths of an inch equals this many mil, so
Yeah.
that she can like keep track of it.
Right.
And you know, I'm sure that was at the start. I'm sure she's fine now, but like the first couple tests, she had this
Yeah,
little like
right.
cheat
Yeah. I
sheet
just need
on
to
the
make
side
sure
of
I
her
do.
screen.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's a very different form of racing. Ovals were like a complete,
Sure,
like
yeah.
that one, you know, it was like showed up to Phoenix for kind of like really big eyed, like what is
Right.
happening here?
Right. Sure.
And but at the same time, a race car is a race car, and the
Yeah.
fundamentals are the same. And so, you know, we had to get used to like what the magnitude of certain things was.
Mm-hmm.
So where she might be used to a change of like a 5 mil ride height change is a normal one, like ours is a 1 mil ride height change,
Yeah,
or
right,
if
right.
you know it's let's do 4 turns of front wing, I'm like, not on your life.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Please
let's
stop
start with
trying to
one.
hurt me.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
So there's things like that, but that just came from the experience that she had. But
Yeah, right.
the philosophy and the fundamentals are all the same.
Right.
So
You guys have been strong.
I
So,
mean, it's
cool.
the teams hit the ground running,
Yeah,
man, which
good.
is really big for how many new people we have in
Right.
place. On the engineering side, the mechanic side, we brought in a lot of new people. It's been good to see.
There's a new windscreen that's being tested on the on your current car. What do you say to, and I'm going to call them idiots, but what do you say to the people on the internet necessarily, or more specifically, that are oh, I don't like it because it's not as pure, it's not as original, it used to be more like this.
Yeah.
Like
I
you've lost friends and your skin is so in the game that you have to have an outright opinion about it.
For sure. I try really hard to not play the I've lost friends card.
Sure.
Because I think you can do it intelligently and with facts rather than with emotion.
Good, yeah.
And so when they say, oh, it's not as pure, or, I'd say, as what? Not as pure as what?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the last race that AJ Foyt was in, he didn't have a... Okay, cool. The first race that AJ Foyt was in, he didn't have seatbelts. So was the last race he was in, was that stupid because that car had seatbelts?
Right.
And it's just like, there's so many very logical arguments
Yeah.
that make all those people sound like complete morons.
Right.
And so I love it when people bring it up. It makes me feel really good about me.
Yeah, right.
Because you're just
Like,
like,
oh, that's how
all
you
right,
live your
let
life.
me just
Yeah.
educate you a little bit here,
Yeah.
pal.
I think my favorite thing when they were banding around the Halo idea.
Right.
People were like, that only prevents like 20% of the accidents that they would have. Like, that's still
more.
20%. Like, that's
It's an improvement.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked though that's what F1 landed on, to be honest.
just because it's so visibly poor. Like looking at it, you're
Looking
like,
at
oh.
it's aesthetically not as pleasing.
Yeah.
It's not as effective.
Still stuff can get in there because the spring that hit. Yeah.
I got knocked unconscious at the Indy Grand Prix with a piece that was about the size of a cell phone.
Yeah, right.
That would have gone straight through there.
Yeah, right. Or at least splitting it two and then still got you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it just I was for a series that has way more resource,
Right.
both human and financial, to investigate solutions to this problem. I'm very proud of IndyCar for coming up with what we did,
looks
because
awesome.
they did not,
Yeah.
I think, go the right way at all.
Yeah. I think and everybody that I know that seems to have an understanding of what it's doing that hasn't trying to play the pure card, they're like, yeah, it looks great.
I think it looks awesome.
Looks
It
awesome.
actually looks really cool.
Yeah.
I was talking to Joseph about it. Like, the big thing is the sound.
Oh.
Because you now don't have
There's a
200
wind
miles an
noise,
hour
right?
of wind noise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the engine is apparently our engines are really loud.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't know that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Right.
we had no idea.
That's super cool. Super cool.
I'm getting calls.
You
I'm
got to
getting
get
man,
down
yeah.
here. So let's,
Yeah. All right. I would love to keep chatting.
Yeah, no. Well, we'll do it again sometime. Sure. But for now, Continental's got the check.
I'm finished.
How about that, James Hinchcliffe?
and one of our favorite restaurants, the 1911 Grill, which this is like our 5th time being there.
That buffalo chicken dip.
God,
I get it every
bless
time.
it,
I get
bless
it every
it.
time.
All right, Acura, Continental Tire, making all this possible. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Send them a tweet. Let them know you love us. Sean, what's the song?
Well, today it's going to be a band called Judas Booth. You can find them on SoundCloud. And, of course, we're going to go with a track titled James Face on SoundCloud. Judas Booth, enjoy.
My whole body's aching to see your face. My whole body's aching to see your face. You're so lovely to embrace. No one can ever fill your space. My whole body's aching to see your face. My whole body's aching to see your face. You're let me whisper, I'm gonna take you down. Gonna save it in a picture now. Watch you spin around. Slam dancing on a landmine. Let affection now. Heavy breathing on a landline. Shut the sector down. Fuck this town. Now your plans are set in motion. She is wet like Christmas.